We are back at Mount Rainier.
And we're showing you how you could spend a weekend at Mount Rainier in the summer.
So come with us and check it out.
Tahoma, one of the original names given to the majestic mountain that would become known to most as Mount Rainier.
A part of the Cascade Range, Mount Rainier is the tallest mountain in the state of Washington, coming in at 14,410 feet. Wow, no wonder it looks like you could reach out and touch it from Seattle.
Long before Captain George Vancouver named it in honor of his friend, Rear Admiral Peter Rainier, the mountain held a spiritual connection to many of the local indigenous peoples. A spiritual connection that can still be felt today.
The beauty of the mountain known as Mother of Waters is a mesmerizing distraction to the geological threat that hides beneath. That's because Mount Rainier is not just a mountain. Nope, it is a stratovolcano, similar to Mount St. Helens.
Part of what makes Mount Rainier so beautiful is also one of the biggest contributing factors that makes it the most threatening, being that its snow-capped top is in fact more than 20 major glaciers, which makes it one of the most glaciated peaks in the continental US.
Still, with the mountain constantly being monitored due to its proximity to large people populations and constant preparation reminders to local residents, visitors to the park have nothing to worry about. At least not enough to prevent them from experiencing such an amazing destination.
Mount Rainier being a volcano doesn't seem to be a deal breaker at all. According to the National Park Service, as many as 2 million people from all over the world visit the national park per year, with the peak season being between July and September.
Peak season. Yep, that will be the biggest adjustment we will be making for our second trip to Mount Rainier. See, our first trip was on just our third episode, when we were sort of new to Washington State and the Pacific Northwest. That trip would be somewhat of a failed attempt.
This didn't click for us native Missourians, but if you're going to go up to the mountains in October, just know there will be snow. Lots of it. But this time we're back as Pacific Northwest expert travelers, so we knew a lot more than we knew last time, like the 2 main visitor access points to the park. On the south side of the mountain is the area known as Paradise, which is accessible via the Nisqually entrance. This part of the park is known for stunning views and wildflower meadows.
On the northeast side is the area known as Sunrise. This side offers more wide open panoramic views, and while the hiking can be a little bit more rugged, Sunrise side does offer the highest drivable elevation point in the park. Sunrise will also be the side that we would be experiencing on this visit. Plus, it was one of the many tips we were given heading into this visit that makes us so confident that we will be doing Rainier right this time.
That's right. Thanks to our friends at Visit Rainier, we were given a playbook on a great way to experience a weekend on Rainier. And in this episode, we're going to share it all with you.
Yes, beautiful people, we were excited to be back on the mountain that originally made us fall in love with the Pacific Northwest. Excited to put our experience up against our new nature rating scale. We were excited for the views, the nature, excited for the chance to really experience the mountain in ways we never imagined.
And of course, show you a great way for how to spend a weekend on Mount Rainier.
Drive grade. On clear days, Mount Rainier can be seen from Seattle, appearing almost like a picturesque painting that you could reach out and touch. But in fact, the massive mountain is more than 80 miles away.
Depending on the entrance, the drive usually takes between 2 and 2.5 hours. For us, the drive would be closer to 2 hours. The shorter end of the trip was just one of the other positives about the day of our travel.
The other positive was definitely the weather. It was a clear blue sky and a bright sunny day in July, so the mountain was visible the whole trip. It served as a perfect motivator as we headed towards our destination.
Yes, the drive on this day was perfect. But how would the drive score against our drive grade scale? Let's start with the views.
Beautiful people, this is an easy one, especially on clear days like this one, when the mountain is out and in full display.
Even on the mountain, the views don't stop. The route on Sunrise travels along the Chinook Scenic Byway. The designated route through the Cascades provides shifting views of farmland, forest, and mountains, so we can definitely give a 2 out of 2 for views.
Let's talk about roadside amenities. Okay, you're driving up a mountain, so there is going to be some secluded parts of that drive, But thanks to what some dub as gateway communities, this drive still scores well in this category.
Marking the beginning of the Chinook Scenic Byway, Enumclaw is one of those gateway communities, the last full-service town before sunrise. The city offers everything from restaurants, coffee shops, and tasting rooms to a historic downtown.
The last opportunity for food, fuel, and supplies makes Enumclaw not only a great option, but also a practical stop. But don't worry, if by chance you forget to stop, Greenwater is another gateway community and a good option along the way. So we give a 2 out of 2 for roadside amenities.
Those roadside amenities do come with some great roadside attractions, but even up on the mountain, there are plenty of other great roadside attractions that include some amazing pull-offs to take in some of the spectacular views. So we can give roadside attractions a 2 out of 2.
In regard to route difficulty, the route is not a difficult one at all, especially during the summer.
Combined with the amazing views, the ride is far from difficult, so we give a 2 out of 2 for route difficulty.
Finally, we can't forget about parking.
For us, parking was far from a problem thanks to Crystal Mountain Resorts and their shuttle service, but more on that later.
Overall, the drive grade score for this drive matched exactly to what we personally experienced, coming out to a perfect 10 out of 10 for drive grade.
Level of fun. Summertime is the perfect time to visit Rainier. And again, we are going to be spending the weekend experiencing the sunrise side of Mount Rainier. This was actually a strategic choice thanks to the advice of our friends at Visit Rainier.
A big reason why sunrise is a great choice, even during the peak months, is because it's less crowded than the Paradise side. Along with the alpine hiking trails, this meant we could have increased chances for peaceful times in the park's nature.
Another tip we got from Visit Rainier was where to stay. A lot of locals think of Mount Rainier as a winter getaway, especially for world-class skiing, and Crystal Mountain Resort is one of the top spots just for that. But what surprised us is how amazing it is in the summer too.
With all of the access to a variety of lodges, along with the amazing amenities, those who do experience Crystal Mountain's property easily fall in love. Don't just take it from us.
You know, Crystal Mountain is a really special place. People come here from all over the world to experience the Cascade Mountains in the summertime. Our scenic gondola takes you up 2,400 feet, almost to 7,000 feet. From the top of the gondola, you can actually see all 5 Cascade volcanoes. We've been operating since 1962 on this mountain, so there's a ton of history here. This place means a whole lot to a whole lot of people. Skiing here is the biggest draw in the wintertime. We have the most acreage in Washington. We have some of the steepest and gnarliest runs in all of the Pacific Northwest. We invite you all to come out, check out Crystal Mountain. You know, it's one of the most iconic places to experience the Cascade Mountains in the summertime, and we'll see you on the mountain.
Once we arrived at Crystal Mountain, we checked into the lodge that would be our base camp for the weekend, the Alpine Inn. Built in 1964, it's the oldest of the 3 lodges a part of Crystal Mountain Hotels.
Inside, the inn still reflects its deep connection to the mountain skiing roots. Cozy, classic, and full of wintry charm, even in the summer. After checking in, we were ready to kick off the weekend on Rainier in what seemed like the perfect way. Dinner on top of Washington's highest elevation restaurant, the Summit House.
Perhaps the best thing about experiencing this restaurant so high in the sky is that you don't have to work very hard to get there. It's just a peaceful 12-minute gondola ride to the top. That provides stunning views on the way up. And best believe, the views only get better once you reach the top.
Yes, visitors are treated with views of Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood on clear days. I must admit that I was a little nervous about the gondola ride at first, but it wasn't really that bad. Ultimately, the experience was totally worth it. Not only the amazing views, but the food at the Summit House was unbelievable.
If you do get a cocktail, remember, you're at a very high elevation, so that one drink is gonna hit a little harder than usual.
After enjoying a delicious dinner at the Summit House, we took in the spectacular view of Mount Rainier.
A view that would be a lot closer the following day, when we would embark up to Mount Rainier National Park. We couldn't wait.
The next morning, we stopped into Brew 62 for some breakfast fuel, before heading over to the Crystal Mountain Resort shuttle that would take us to the Sunrise Visitor Center in Mount Rainier National Park.
The shuttle picks guests up every hour at the upper lot on Crystal Mountain Resort, then drops them off for a few hours so to enjoy the park before finally picking them up and bringing them back to Crystal Mountain.
The day of our visit was actually a special day for Mount Rainier National Park.
So Mount Rainier has implemented their timed entry, and so today's the first day that it's happening, it's implicated. So we're riding up in the Crystal Mountain shuttle service to Mount Rainier National Park.
The ride was comfortable and relaxing. The safe driving of our Crystal Mountain Resort driver Jeffrey and their expertise of the road made it easy to sit back and enjoy the 45-minute to an hour scenic drive up. And best of all, we didn't have to worry about paying for parking.
Even though we had our Discover Pass.
Like I said, free parking.
Jeffrey dropped us off in a great location within the park. But before he left, we coordinated a pickup in 3 hours. That's the amount of time we had to get the most out of this trip to Mount Rainier.
But we were up for the challenge. To make sure we did everything, we stopped into the Sunrise Visitor Center, where we checked out some of the cool exhibits. Then we hit the Sunrise Day Lodge, where there's food service and a gift shop. Look, we should have not skipped out on buying the bug spray that they were offering.
Yes, this is an important message. Bring bug spray and sunscreen, but especially bug spray.
Yes, especially bug spray. We would pay for this mistake.
Oh my God.
But we were way more better prepared with the right hiking attire for this trip to Rainier, and we were ready to enjoy a hike.
The hiking options on Sunrise are more rugged than what you would find on the Paradise side, because we were looking for a trail that would lead to a closer view of the mountain's northeast face. Sourdough Ridge was the trail we chose to embark on.
Even though the hike took a lot out of your girl, it was the perfect mix of challenging and doable. Plus, the views just kept getting more and more spectacular. Eventually, we chose to turn around so that we would have enough time to head back down to the picnic area.
Yes, the picnic area. So to have lunch, but also to partake in one of our favorite post-hike pastimes, watercolor painting. Ah, beautiful people, this right here was everything.
Yes, peacefully sitting, connecting to nature, getting lost in the art, or what we call art. This really cemented the experience, because before long, it was time to meet Jeffrey at the pickup spot.
Not surprising, he was on time. I will say that the ride back seemed to go by a lot faster than going up, and in no time, we were back on the Crystal Mountain property.
After getting back to the Alpine Inn, we got changed, recharged a bit, then got ready to head down for dinner at the Alpine Inn restaurant. Our meals were amazing.
Dinner capped our weekend. Afterwards, we headed off to bed. The next morning, we packed up, checked out, and headed back down the mountain to return home to Seattle.
We can officially say our second attempt to hike on Mount Rainier was an absolute success. But how does the experience stack up to our nature level of fun scale?
For this outdoor nature-packed experience, we are using our nature level of fun scale. Check out the video at our YouTube channel for a breakdown. Let's start with activities.
It should come as a no-brainer that Mount Rainier has tons of enjoyable activities for visitors to enjoy out in the beautiful scenery, just considering the sunrise side of the national park. Along with the amazing hiking trails, there is the Sunrise Visitor Center with exhibits, guided interpretive programs, books for sale, and picnic areas.
Even Crystal Mountain property offers a ton of great activity options. Everything from an adventure area to great choices to unwind, like the Snorting Elk Cellar at the Alpine Inn. So, 2 out of 2 for activities.
In regard to amount and variety of trail options, having personally experienced a popular hiking national park, as well as noticing quite a few summer hiking trail options close to Crystal Mountain resorts, we can easily give a 2 out of 2 for a variety of trails.
In regards to demographic applicability of the area and the trails on the Sunrise side of Mount Rainier National Park, we noticed a wide range of visitors from all ages and hiking skill levels. Well, assumed hiking skill levels. Some of these Pacific Northwest grannies can outlap us on the trail, huh?
Yes, this was surprising to us because the sunrise side of Mount Rainier National Park is known for more rugged hikes and could possibly present more of a challenge being in the higher elevation. Of course, Crystal Mountain was perfect for families, couples, and solo travelers of all ages, so we can give a 2 out of 2 for demographic applicability.
Another unique category, a part of our nature level of fun scale, is wildlife opportunities. And trust us, you'll definitely have the chance to see some. Just don't be like us and forget the bug spray, or you're guaranteed to run into some of the less desirable wildlife.
Oh my God.
Still, we give both points for wildlife opportunities.
The final criteria is special landmarks or attractions. This is yet another no-brainer. Mount Rainier is one of the most special and unique attractions and natural landmarks in the world. So both points for special landmarks or attractions.
The final tally of points definitely reflects the experience we had this whole weekend enjoying Mount Rainier, coming out to a perfect score of 10 out of 10 for level of fun.
Wow, I guess we can say that we did this return trip to Mount Rainier National Park right this time around.
Agreed, but we still need to come back to Crystal Mountain properties in the winter so we can learn how to ski. Plus, I heard the local ski community really turns up during that time.
One thing is for sure, the area will be just as stunning as it is in the summer. Still, there's one thing left to test out, our comfortability rating.
Comfortability for Black people. If you are familiar with our show, then you are likely familiar with our saying about nature. You know, nature loves Black people.
So it should be no surprise that one of the most beautiful nature places in the state and even the world, we would feel extremely comfortable.
Surrounded by the beautiful views, the peacefulness of nature, and the refreshing smell of the open mountain air, it was more than enough for us to feel relaxed. Still, let's see what our nature version of our Comfortability for Black people scale has to say.
Starting with the two criteria we just pretty much described, exposure to nature and personal feelings during the visit. Based on what we just said, we are obviously giving both points to both of these criteria.
Next, in regard to visibility of signs and artifacts of inclusion, we were surprised at just how prevalent the inclusive and welcome messaging was around Crystal Mountain property and in the park, which makes a lot of sense considering just how many diverse people visit Mount Rainier National Park from countries all over the globe.
What was really cool was to see some inclusion efforts to improve actively ongoing, like the Alpine Inn, who has a current project converting a bunch of rooms into 100% ADA accessible, as well as the walkway leading up to the lodge. So we can give 2 out of 2 for visibility of signs and artifacts of inclusion.
Part of those signs were the diverse staff working for Crystal Mountain, something we noticed at the front desk as soon as we checked in. This also brings us to our next criteria, amount of Black people seen. We noticed a lot of other fellow Black visitors around the property and within the park, so we can give both points for amount of Black people seen.
This was another pleasant surprise, being that the area's Black population number is where the score takes a hit. That's because the local Black population of the area surrounding Mount Rainier is less than 1%, so no points for this criteria.
Even with taking the hit on the local Black population numbers, the score accurately reflects our personal feelings. But to be sure we weren't missing anything, we got a chance to talk with one of the other fellow Black people we saw during our weekend, and he actually was one of the diverse faces working for Crystal Mountain when we checked in.
Hearing that really cemented the tally of our score. For our weekend at Mount Rainier, it came out to an amazing score of 8 out of 10 for comfortability for Black people.
There you have it. Our return trip to Mount Rainier was everything we thought it would be, and so much more.
We can't wait to come back. One time to check out the paradise side of Mount Rainier National Park, and another time in the winter to learn to ski at Crystal Mountain. And just like we promised all the way back in episode 3, we will be back.
Let's recap some important tips for enjoying the perfect weekend at Mount Rainier National Park. 1. Summer is a great time to go. 2. Consider Crystal Mountain hotels for lodging accommodations. 3. Use Crystal Mountain Resort's shuttle service to Mount Rainier National Park. 4. Make your reservation for the park's timed entry if visiting Sunrise Corridor July 11th through September 1st.
And 5, and possibly the most important tip of all, don't forget bug spray when you go to the park. But even if you happen to make the same mistake we did and do end up getting a few mosquito bites, we know that you still won't regret experiencing one of the world's most beautiful volcanoes, Mount Rainier.
That's why we definitely recommend you taking a trip for yourself. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about visiting Mount Rainier National Park. And also, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Finally, as always, beautiful people, stay up, stay true, and do you.